This is Corey Willis with PPEI, and you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
I'm Adam Blattenberg from Diesel World.
Hi, this is Dan, owner of D&J Diesel Performance.
I'm Christian Roth of DD Diesel.
I'm Braden Fleece, and you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
What is going on, Diesel Nation? We're excited to have you guys with us today on the Diesel Podcast. Today's episode comes directly from Instagram, and it was recently we came across this 1972 F250 crew cab, and it's immaculate. And we were scrolling through the gentleman's Instagram, and we started to see some engine pictures, and there's a 12-valve compound turbo Cummins sitting between the fenders, and we had to chat with him. So today we got Robert. He's the truck's owner. He's going to tell us how he found this truck, and it's a super low-mile 1972, and the process of being able to get the 12-valve, the compound turbos in, the piping, and then also making a 47RH work and doing a Super Duty axle swap out of an 04 truck. And he did it all himself at home with help of some friends and just jumped right in. So it's a really cool conversion. We know there's a lot of you out there that are interested in these, and we're excited to be able to bring you this episode. Before we get to it, we want to remind you guys that if you are needing engine oil, transmission fluid, axle fluid, anything like that, Amsoil has a special going right now with free shipping on any order over $50. Just go to amsoil.com and you can search tons of different products, whether you've got a Cummins, Duramax, Power Stroke, older truck, newer truck, regardless of any transmission you have. They've got tons of different products for not just your diesel trucks, but also daily drivers, off-road, ATVs, motorcycles, things like that. All right, let's get to the podcast with Robert and talking about this 1972 Ford with a 12-valve Cummins conversion. Robert, welcome to the Diesel Podcast. I'm excited to have you on today, especially after recently seeing your truck on Instagram. We came across it, and it's a really cool build and a conversion that I know a lot of our listeners are going to be curious to hear about, and they're going to see some pictures if they're checking this out on YouTube. But we're really excited to have you on today, talk about your truck, some of the upgrades you've done, and the whole conversion process.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Appreciate the interest in the truck, and it's a crazy build.
Let's start out with for those of us that are listening on some of the podcast apps, they're not going to see the picture of the truck, but tell us about the year, the make, the model, why that particular truck, and just some of the background on it.
Well, it's a 1972 Ford F250. It's a crew special. 1972 was the last year of the bump side, they call it. At 73 through 79 was a dent side. I was actually looking for a dent side because my uncle had one when I was a little kid, and I always thought they were super cool. I was looking for a single cab, and just looking for a couple months, and I came across this 72 four-door, and it just all really fell into place. I have 4 kids and a beautiful wife, and when I saw it, it just clicked. I could fit my whole family in there. I could build this truck to what I've always kind of dreamed of, having a diesel truck. I've always been into Fords, but to integrate an old truck with a diesel engine was exactly what I was looking for. So it's a 72 Ford F250. It's a 4-door short box. Truck came from Washington State. Saw it online and fell in love right when I saw it. Called the guy. I actually bought it sight unseen. Had it trailered back here, and as soon as it got trailered back here, I started the build. It was a long process for me, every day and every night kind of thing, just thinking about it or building on it. Just really came together well, I think. 72 Ford is really kind of the family, Ford model there. So that's why I like that bump side.
Was there much to do on the exterior or the interior, or was it pretty clean when you got it?
Yeah, so it had 56,000 original miles.
Oh, wow.
When I got it. It came with a 390 big block gas engine. No rust at all. The interior is, there's a couple small rips in the seat, but other than that, it's perfect. The exterior, it has some clear coat that's coming off the truck, original paint. I really couldn't believe how great of a truck it was. You're buying a truck sight unseen. You're kind of thinking let's hope for the best, right?
Yeah.
It was awesome, man. I couldn't have, asked for something better. Completely stock on the outside. And my whole theme for the build was, how can I build this truck to incorporate this look, this stock look on the outside of this body without really, really getting, I don't have tinted windows. I don't have custom seats. Everything is stocked on the outside, but when you open up the hood, you really see, what's under there. It's pretty nice.
That's what grabbed my attention, is just how original the truck was. And then I was going through your Instagram and I started to see some engine pictures, and that's what I wanted to chat about now, is if you could tell us about the engine choice, why you picked that particular Cummins engine, and then the process for getting it to fit, how easy or hard was it? What were some of the things that you definitely wanted to incorporate into, the power and the torque, of the engine and getting it into the truck?
Right. Well, I can tell you there's really no place that I've found online, social media or anything, that will help you get this, conversion done. There's one company I found, diesel conversion specialists. They'll sell you engine mounts, but that's pretty much about it. The rest is on you. So as far as the diesel choice, it's a 12-valve Cummins, came out of a 95 truck. The reason I went with that particular 12-valve Cummins instead of a newer style, is mainly just the whole theme of the truck is mechanical. The truck's older. Let's go with a mechanical diesel engine. And if I'm going to get a mechanical diesel engine, the best choice probably for the power and the bang for your bucks is a 12-valve Cummins. It's a really bulletproof engine. And, I am a Ford guy, so getting away from the 7.3-liter was kind of hard, or a 6-liter. But the mechanical 12-valve is really, I thought, where it was at. But I started, once I got the 12-valve, I stripped down, you can see on Instagram, I stripped it down, I was pressure washing the block, rebuilt the whole entire engine myself. I didn't sub anything out. I did it. I've never done it before, and it took me a little bit longer, but I did it, Went online, researched it. I talked to the guys over at Hamilton. They sold me all the internal parts. So everything's studded, pistons, crank, rods, lifters, springs, heads. Everything is ready for whatever I want to throw at it. So, but I got the engine mounts from Diesel Conversion Specialist, like I said. And from there, I set it in the frame. You have to cut a lot of stuff out, cut the cross numbers out, everything, and start building from scratch. But you know what? I never had Instagram before last 2019 fall. The only reason I got into social media was just trying to find someone to help me try to do this build. I found there is nobody out there. So then I got into just, let's be the guy that shows everyone. I'm open to anyone messaging me. I try to help everyone out as much as possible. Pictures, videos, what I've done. Maybe it can help somebody else, because I'm sure there's other people out there that, want to do it. They see my build, they see someone else's build, they get ideas, and that's the coolest thing, is just running with it,
There's a lot of messages throughout the year that we get from people who have they either have a truck like yours. They're mostly regular cabs, but they're thinking about it, or they want to do it, and they want to do a 12-valve Cummins. And I think that there's a lot of, like you said, it can be tough to find an exact roadmap for how am I, going to fit this in and get it into the engine bay, and then what are some things that I need to be aware of while I do it. So I'm sure you're going to get some messages off of it. And when you were telling me about going with the crew cab and being able to have the whole family go in it, I was thinking, okay, now with a 12-valve, the sky's almost the limit with power, right, and things you can do. What was your goal for fuel and air and a power level for this build?
So when I first started the build, I thought, hey, let's build this 12-valve because it's going to be bulletproof. I can take it from here down to Florida for a truck week. I'm living in Wisconsin. And I wouldn't have to worry about it breaking down on me. And if it did something break, there's about 1 million Cummins dealers from here to, in every state. So
Yeah.
I've always wanted a twin turbo anything, and I've never had one. So I thought, well, there's not a better time than right now. I'm not getting any younger, so I started calling around. I talked to 3 or 4 different diesel shops, and I came up with, if I put a Borg Warner, the 363 and a 476 together, it would be maybe not the most powerful engine in the world, but you know what? This thing's going to have a lot of power, and I can drive it daily. So that's what I went with. I called up the company, Evil Fab. They do piping for twin turbos, and it worked pretty good. The hot pipe and the intake pipe I got from them, but I had to custom build the down pipe, which I think, depending on your turbo mounting, every down pipe's going to be a little different. So if you're going into this thinking you're going to put a Cummins in a truck, I don't think you're just going to be able to buy a down pipe off of the internet. You're going to have to pretty much build one. You could buy one, but then you're going to have to cut it apart and weld it. So everyone should know that going into it. Single turbo or a compound turbo is not going to matter.
That's a really good point, because I've seen that a lot, where a lot of these kits, or the piping kits, are designed for a 94 to 02 or 03 to 07 truck. And then once you completely switch the space and the body style, the charge pipe and the down pipe are usually the two that you're going to have to, it's going to be custom.
Yeah. And, some people want to go on there, they're going to start researching the internet, and they're going to say, okay, I'm going to get a down pipe that's close, right? And I'm going to cut it apart. Really, you can go online and buy, your pie-shaped piping kits, your bends, tack them together. If you're not the greatest welder, it's okay. Tack them together, bring them down to a local welding shop. A welding shop will burn them in for, $50 or something once you get it all tacked together. Some guys do it for a case of beer on the weekend. The sky's the limit, though. But everything is going to be a little different. So I think if someone wants to do this out there and they're listening to this, just know that every build is going to be a little different. If you hit a hurdle, contact some more people. I mean, it's not like there's a wrong decision. It's not like you did it wrong and this guy did it right. Everyone has their own way of doing things, and I don't think there is a right way. So I know that probably sounds a little vague, but I hope that helps.
So for the fueling side, were you shooting for, say, like a 550 to 650 horsepower kind of range, where you still have, the reliability, the economy, a little bit extra power, but it's not necessarily, putting a ton of strain, say, on the transmission or other parts of the truck?
Yeah. So I have a 47 RH transmission. It's built with torque converter. They're saying it's rated for about 900 horse. I have a small computer that just handles the lock and the torque converter, third and fourth gear under the seat. But it's pretty much a hydraulic transmission for the most part. So it's a really easy transmission also. If someone's looking to do a transmission on one of these conversion kits, you can do really any transmission, but you're going to have to buy a specialty computer to program all that stuff. So if you stick with the 46 and 47 RH transmissions, they're really easy and user-friendly. But yeah, so I'm thinking, getting back to the fuel, I have an AirDog fuel system for the fuel. I have an under-the-bed fuel tank. I got rid of the fuel tanks behind the back seat in those Fords, so I kind of got rid of that. I didn't really want to smell like diesel on the inside the cab. But yeah, I'm thinking it's right about 700 horsepower right now.
That's a nice spot for having a little bit of fun, but then, like you mentioned, being able to take it on a road trip and just having, confidence and being able to put a lot of miles on it. That's the thing too, is being able to enjoy the truck and put as many miles on as you want, versus there tends to be a relationship between a lot of power and then how long components last, and that power range that you're in is really that sweet spot for it.
Yeah, I was really happy how it came out. The whole build and all turned out, I think, a lot better than I was at first. It wasn't like I went to the drawing board and said, this is exactly what I want this thing to look like. was just one day after another. You're going through it, you change a couple things, and you keep going, and you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you complete the thing, So, but it was just one day at a time. I don't have a big fab shop. I don't do this for a living. I did it in my garage with a couple friends. They helped out awesome. So, but yeah, it was. There's a couple different places that I really like some parts. Far from stock, they had some really cool parts for Cummins diesel stuff. But the engine, I got some Keating Performance front covers and valve covers, and I got all the Borg Warner stuff. I got all it powder coated. It's a really cool. It's a hammered finish, copper. Man, the thing looks tough. And you know what? It blends in so nice, right with the color of the truck.
That's what I noticed from the engine pictures is it transitions really nice from the factory paint, and you can see it on the firewall and the fenders to the piping that you have. It just transitions really well, and then the valve cover that you have, it's an attention grabber.
Yeah, and I'm not a flashy guy. I'm really not. The one thing I really like about this build is that not one thing is super flashy. The valve cover being chrome kind of polished is really the only flashy thing under the engine bay. You open it up, and everything kind of seems at first. Yeah, you got two turbos looking at you, but it all just blends together. It just like it's supposed to be there. That was the best thing about taking my time and doing it, making so everything is not just sitting in there. Everything just meshes like it's supposed to. That's the coolest thing about this truck. Couldn't ask for a better turnout, But the axles, those came out of a Super Duty 2004. All the leaf springs and everything, custom hangers. But it's pretty much about a 5-inch suspension, 373 gears, sitting on 20-inch rims, 35-inch tires. So it's got a really good overdrive gear. You can cruise at 65, 70 miles an hour, just, right down the road like it's a brand new truck.
When you first drove it, what was your impression after you had everything wrapped up and you took it out on its maiden voyage?
I couldn't stop smiling. I couldn't stop smiling. I drove it to a friend's house about 20 minutes away, and I think I smiled for like an hour, from my house to my friend's house and back. It was incredible. My friend was driving behind me just in case, maiden voyage, right? If something happens. And he's like, I think there was like 25, 30 people that got head turners. I remember pulling up next to this Super Duty on a double lane, a stoplight. And the window's down. And he rolls his window and he goes, "Is that a diesel?" And if you ever heard a 12-valve Cummins, actually, you're like, "Yeah, it's a diesel."
They have a distinct sound.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. I think it was a rhetorical question, right? But so yeah, it was awesome, to say the least. Hearing that 12-valve start up and just drive out, everything on the whole build, from the brakes, the axle, suspension. I would say that the steering was probably the one I was the most nervous with, and it turned out awesome. It's a steering box out of the same with the axle, it's 2004. So this is actually a really good thing for anyone looking to do this. The Super Duty gearbox from an 04 to 99, they work really nice. And the steering box is on a two-wheel drive Ford from 67 to 79. They're actually mounted in a bad spot for these Cummins. So if you have a two-wheel drive, you're going to have to change that. And you're going to have to go with a different gearbox or mount it in a different spot. So be prepared to do that.
Was that all custom, having to do it, or were there some kits or some help along the way that you got?
So I did take a lot of pictures, so if anyone's interested, they can always message me, and I can give them even more tips and tricks kind of thing. But I pretty much took the gearbox, drew an outline on just a plate of steel and cut out a plate of steel. I welded that steel plate right to the frame, tacked it at first, right? Bolted the thing on, bolted my steering suspension up, and I just, I got it to the point where it's like, okay, it's halfway, it steers both sides correctly, there's no binding. You want to make sure that you don't have a hard spot in the steering. So I would say it's a little bit of trial and error. It wasn't anything that it was, the right way or wrong way, like I said before, to do. But there's some places out there that'll help with the steering shafts. You can get extensions on those to get down to the gearbox. Learn some stuff that way too. But yeah, you take your time, make your template, and get that welded to the frame. You're going to want to box that frame in just a little bit right around that steering box because it does have some tension, especially if you're looking to put on bigger tires. But yeah, it was the steering box off that Super Duty worked out really well. So I would recommend. And they're cheap. You can go and you can get a steering box from a junkyard for $50.
The big question I was thinking about is: are there any changes that you think you may do to the truck? Are you 100% happy with where it is and just basically everything?
I'm definitely going to be making some changes. I was actually just working on it this morning. If anyone knows the Cummins, I already got a catch can on there. So there's that. I'm going to be changing. The Super Duty axles are really nice, but the 373 stock gearing ratio with the 35-inch tires, I'll probably upgrade that to maybe a 410 or somewhere in that range. But there's a lot of stuff that I have, ideas about that I kind of want to do. Maybe some more work with the P-pump, getting that to where it needs to go. I'd really like to see how far I can push the engine. It's really built. Maybe I'll dabble a little bit in nitrous if I ever want to get into that kind of atmosphere. I built the truck to be a daily driver, a weekend warrior. But I also, if I ever wanted to, hey, the county fair is up the road. I want to go to a truck pull. The Great Lakes Dragway is down the street. I want to go race it. She's quick, So if you see me on the street, it's not just your daily Cummins.
It was really cool to see it when I first saw the pictures, and I definitely appreciate you reaching out to us because it's it's a classic truck. It's so original, and I really like that, and I gravitate towards that. But then once I start going through the pictures and I see the compound turbos and the engine and the different things that you're doing, it combines so many different cool things with diesel performance that it was really cool to chat with you. And I wanted to ask you, because I know there's going to be listeners that are like, hey, I've always wanted to do this, but I have some questions, or I'm in the middle of something. How do I get past this particular part? How can people find you on Instagram to be able to check out the build? And then if they want to reach out to you and ask you some questions on building this setup.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and Facebook at R.A. Cordus. So it's RAKORDUS. That's my first and last name. Nothing crazy, nothing special. No crazy Cummins dude at 446 or something. Just I'm a straight shooter, old school. But yeah, if you got any questions or anything, you can just message me, and I'll tell you this. I just got Instagram, like 6 months ago, and I didn't get it, for anything special. I got it for the guys that or girls that want to do these kind of builds. I'm an old car, old truck love, just fanatic. So if anyone's got any questions, feel free to hit me up. I'll help them out. There's tons and tons of pictures and videos that I have not posted. So if anyone's got any kind of questions, they can always ask.
I definitely appreciate you taking time to chat with us and to tell us about it, and your passion and excitement for the build and the truck and the process of it is really cool. These are some of my favorite episodes to do, is to be able to see these trucks. And it seems like we almost always have a connection to those old Ford body styles. Like I remember growing up, my dad had one, and in the back of my head, I've always had that idea, and it would be so cool. I'm not sure if I would do a common rail or a 12 valve, but it would definitely be a 5.9. But that's something that's always kind of there, and we think, hey, man, that would be cool to just do a project like that. So it was really awesome to hear and see your build. And I look forward to seeing some other things that you do. And if you make any, big changes or something, definitely let us know. Come back on and let us know about them and what kind of feedback you get from, our listeners out there that hear your episodes, see you on YouTube, and inspire some builds out there.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely have some. I'll keep you involved. I got some things in the works that I'm pretty excited about. So I will. But yeah, like I said, I was so happy about the build. I couldn't stop. Just thinking about it right now, I'm smiling. I took my kids this morning, and this whole, COVID-19 thing really, kind of stinks for everyone out there, and hope everyone kind of stays safe. But I, grocery picker up this morning, I'm in the pick and save, pickup line, bring the groceries out to the truck. What stall you in? I'm in the one with the loud engine.
Yeah, it's a super cool build. It's definitely, like I said, something that it grabbed our attention. It was like, man, that's a cool truck, and just learning more about it and everything you went through was really awesome. And like I said, taking time out of your day to chat with us and tell us about it was really cool.
Yeah, and I'm glad to be here and talking about it. Not a lot of people actually spend the time to reach out to a guy and ask him about these kind of projects very often. And because the unique ones, those are the ones that are the hardest. No one wants to build because they get frustrated and they lose interest because they get frustrated and they hit a roadblock because they're don't know what to do. Guys like you talking to guys like me, maybe that'll help that one guy do that build, and that's what it's that's what we're doing here. That's what it's all about.
Don't forget, diesel fans, if you are needing to do any maintenance on your truck, if you head on over to Amsoil.com, you can get free shipping on orders over $50, and they've got basically everything that you would need, whether it's engine oil, transmission fluid, differential fluid for your diesel, gas, off-road vehicles, motorcycles, really anything. So it's a great opportunity to get some free shipping, get some maintenance done before summer rolls around, and make sure that your truck's running in optimum shape. Till next time, keep the shiny side up. Shiny side up. Shiny side